Hello all you shining stars, and welcome to my channel, Shining Star Soup. In today's What's the Soup Saturday, I'm going to talk about the Soup Bowl of 2020, the buried debt, where am I a year later. Alright, and I hope everybody had a Merry Christmas and Happy Holidays, whatever you celebrate. And yeah, so we're just gonna jump right into it. So if any of you can recall, last year I got myself into a little bit of a hole. I spiraled down completely. To kind of put it into perspective, I got on the subscription box kick last year where I ended up putting an extra $5,000 on my credit cards. And in the end, you know, I did a whole bunch of breaking it down. I did a bunch of reviews. I had worst to best subscription boxes for the month, you know, kind of thing. Like I spent a lot of money and I got myself in a lot of debt, and to be honest with you, I didn't have much in the end to show for it. So I decided to make the very hard decision in November of 2019 to hand over complete control of my finances to my husband. It was that bad. It was like close to it tearing us apart. And what I've learned is, you know, with some relationships, money problems can be a big issue. And I've never, you know, I've always been upfront when it comes to me having a spending problem. Now, I realize that there are a lot of people out there that are worse than me, but there also are a lot of people better off than me when it comes to making wise spending decisions. So my first step was, of course, to hand over complete control of my finances, my bank account, my credit cards to my husband. I promised him that I wouldn't get any credit cards behind his back, which was a big problem in the past, and the reason why I ended up spiraling out of control, because there were things that I wanted. I wanted to grow my YouTube channel. I thought that unboxings would be a good niche, that I could keep up with it, and I thought maybe eventually I'd start getting boxes sent to me for free. And but it wasn't only last year. Like I've had financial problems with my spending for a while now. Last year, 2019, was just bringing it to a head. Now I can say that a year and a month later, my husband still has complete control. However, I have not gone behind his back and gotten any secret credit cards. I still haven't really gotten used to not having that control, not having access to my bank accounts. But when you know that you have a problem, and I mean, I'm sure that I've reached a point now that my husband would, I guess, give me access to things again. But I'm not at that point yet, and it might take me a long time still to get comfortable with it, with keeping within a budget and not being tempted to get these extra subscription boxes, extra clothes. Now keep in mind, over the year, I wasn't perfect by any means. I did have some pitfalls and some mistakes that I made financially. So I'm going to go over them in this video a bit. Like I said, I am breaking down a bit about 2020 and what kind of things that were good and what kind of things that were bad. And I kind of slipped up because it's bound to happen, right? So at the beginning of the year, I did work at well, I might as well just say it now. I did work at Kentucky Fried Chicken. And I did end up getting laid off. And I had a bit of a brief period in time where I was, well, because I got laid off was because of the whole thing that's going on. And then I ended up working from home. and I've been working from home for about 3.5 months right now. So that's what I have been doing. My husband gave me a monthly budget. So at the start of the year, it was like $200. And then it increased to $300, and eventually it'll be $400. And even with having that budget and having that amount of spending money, we are still paying down the debt. Like, we've made huge, and I'm not going to give exact numbers just because my husband doesn't want me getting too detailed when it comes to numbers kind of thing. But just to put things into perspective, from where I was last year, which was like $5,000 just in subscription boxes alone, we have managed to pay off 3 credit cards, 2 cars, and all we have left now is a line of credit, another credit card, and of course the mortgage on the house. Leaps and bounds just from doing that simple thing as handing over control. And the big thing about handing over control was that I became accountable. Like, and my husband told me that he would be able to see my credit rating, that he would, get credit alerts, because whether it was true or not, rather he has me on microscope or getting alerts, whatever. That's not the point. The point is, it took me to a level where I was held accountable, so I was more aware of my choices. So for the last year, it has worked significantly, and I'm very proud of myself. Being able to, make that significant dent in the debt. Okay, that's a tongue twister. Some of the things that I've been doing is I have been selling some of my extra items on Poshmark or Facebook to kind of recuperate the things and the items that, and I wish I would have thought of it sooner. Facebook Marketplace and Poshmark, I wish I would have thought of it last year when I was getting so many items that I actually ended up not really enjoying. Like, I actually, I did some giveaways, I did end up checking some things when I could have recuperated so much more. Last year, or this year, I've probably recuperated about $500. I've also made the effort to, even though I have my budget, if I'm going to spend, say, $190 in one shot at Sephora or Shoppers Drug Mart, which I have done, I've reached out to my husband prior, just to let him know that, hey, I'm making a large purchase, and he's like, you don't need to tell me, as long as you stay within your budget. Okay. So that's been working for me. Another thing that has been working for me, and the major thing, is reducing my subscription boxes. So in the last year, I think I had 9 different subscription boxes, maybe more in 2019. Keep in mind, it was like $5,000 because I got stuck on the gift boxes from Japan. I got, the treat boxes and stuff. It was the whole, I didn't want a recurring subscription, so I ended up getting a gift subscription. And to get a gift subscription for boxes like Tokyo Treat, Yumi Twins, Doki Doki Crate, you have to get the minimum 3 months. So that was a big thing. And of course, the U.S. exchange rate it seemed a bit more fair. I don't know why that is. It's gone down. It used to be like 134, and now it's at 129 or 128. So that makes a big difference when you're getting a little bit more Canadian value for your dollar. So 2020, I got like 1 Lux box. And Lux box is like only $29 Canadian, and that's once every 3 months, I believe, or 4. I've gotten like 2 to 3 top boxes, and FabFitFun and BoxyCharm. So I pulled away from, you know, the Simply Beautiful, the White Willow box, the interesting random boxes that I just wanted, the unusual subscription boxes that for a while it drew some attention to the channel. I pulled away from those boxes completely. And I also received 5 boxes free for review. There was an Ice and Fire, which was a candle review. These are all listed in my unboxings. Like I said, so that was an Ice and Fire candle that had I had been approached actually by a friend of a friend to review that candle subscription. There was also Sample Source that I got and unboxed. The Okashi crate, which was actually, I believe, just last month. I think that was completely free for review. That was the snack crate, and that was me reaching out to the company and kind of pitching my channel. So I did get that free for review. But this year, I have ended up with a total of 3 extra winter FabFitFun boxes. I unboxed 3 on my channel, and altogether I ended up with 4, and I didn't bother unboxing the 4th one. I just, yeah, so I plan on, the only thing, you know, I like the idea of giveaways. The only thing when it comes to giveaways is that it costs money. It costs money and time. It costs money to ship and package, and especially if you're shipping from Canada to the States or internationally, you're going to be doing the extra legwork, because now you have to do extra steps, and it's just, I don't know. It's more profitable for me to sell the items on Poshmark, or as much as I would love to do giveaways, like I said. And I don't want to pay any extra. I gotta really take into account my husband putting in the effort. It's a 2-person accomplishment. He works anywhere from 5 to 6 days a week, but he's also doing 12-hour days. You know, he can do anywhere from 70, he can pull 60-hour weeks. You know, you and I were used to, you know, 40 hours a week or 48. Meanwhile, he does make more money than me, but he also works his butt off. And there are a lot of times that I'm guilty of wanting. And the thing is, you really got to put yourself in the other person's shoes. I've really tried to do that. As much as I would love to, you know, get an entire Beautylish Sonia G brush set, or, you know, I did get a Jeffree Star winter mystery box instead of a Beautylish Lucky Bag, and I've been guilty of kind of trying to see if my husband will let me get both. But what it boils right down is it's a give and take, and it requires mutual effort. A lot of the reason why we're in debt is because of me, because of my spending habits and my choices. And another thing that has helped, and if you're still here with me while I'm talking about how I've managed to kind of get a handle on the debt and the positive choices that I've made in 2020, thank you. And that is Sizzling In Content into my channel over the last year. That's not just unboxings. I've done, you know, reviews. I did a thing where I gave advice for people coming to Alberta, doing registry advice. I did shoutouts for a while, get readies with me, tag videos, just introducing different things, and of course my Guild Wars 2 Wednesdays. Those videos haven't been much that popular, but the thing is with those is that it keeps my channel active, being able to do that. The videos actually run out in February. But it's been kind of hard for me to find a particular niche because, after doing research and just YouTube channels seem to be more popular when you have a theme that you really need to stick to something. And the problem with that was when I originally started putting myself out here, putting myself in the YouTube world, my niche was going to be, or was for a time, unboxings. Unfortunately, it would take a lot of work and a lot more money for me to get to the point, and a lot more commitment for me to get to the point where I would start receiving boxes free for review on, or get on PR lists on a consistent basis. So I really needed to take a step back from that, which was a good reason why I reduced my 9 subscription boxes to like 3, for that very reason. Now, we're going to get into the bad. It was not smooth sailing all the way from January this year to now. Everything that's been going on aside and the job situation aside, it's not been smooth sailing. I have had a couple of bumps in the road. I didn't do a no-buy month or a no-buy year, even though that certainly crossed my mind when I first realized how bad I had gotten. But it was not realistic for me. And that was the thing. That's why, it was kind of ridiculous for me to put myself on a no-buy subscription box or no-buy makeup or just a no-buy year. In reality, it was asking too much of myself. And my husband, that's not what he wanted either. He didn't want me to get to the point where, I was so strict on myself that I wouldn't even get a BoxyCharm all year or something like that. That's not what he wanted, and that was not what he expected. All right. So some of the bad things, some of the times I faltered this year, and still do. I still sneak off to get a lottery ticket once every month, or if I see the lottery winnings up really high. For poker lotto or for just, the lottery. The other problem with that is it's kind of a trigger for me. Another thing that happened last year that I didn't really touch on was that I ended up getting poker lotto a lot, and I won not a huge amount, but a decent enough amount where it was like, oh, wow, that's amazing. And then I kept on, I got into the period where I kept on buying the tickets all the time. And I would sneak out and I would start getting the poker lotto, hoping that I'd get a winning like I got last time, especially when it was up to like 50 grand. And I was like, oh, could you imagine? I got that certain amount last year. Maybe I'll be lucky again. But I never was. And I probably spent at least half of what I won that random time anyway. So it's a trigger for me because I do have a bit of a gambling niche. That's why I do like mystery boxes so much. So that was kind of bad. It is kind of bad when I once in a while will get a lottery ticket. I still do, and when I see that it's, for the Lotto Max, it's like $54 million and like 25 max millions. Sorry, husband, I'm getting a ticket because you never know. That's just one thing I haven't been able to shake. Okay, here's one of the bad. I bought a Foreo washing face thing earlier in the year this year. And it was expensive. It was like $220, and I bought it off of the shopping channel. I thought it would be a good idea to do what they call Afterpay. And Afterpay was splitting it into multiple payments. So instead of one large $200 sum, it was like 4 payments of $45 a month. And the reason why that was a bad idea was that I I ended up going over my budget each and every month for the time that I was being, and it was my own fault. But my husband told me to never do that again because it's not a good practice. If you want something and you can't afford it unless you make minimum payments on it, it's a better idea to save up for it on your own rather than buying it right away and splitting it over 4 months. It's kind of like, even if it says no interest, no extra payments, or you pay more than one and then the other 3 months are broken down, it might seem like a good idea. It might seem like, well, hey, I can pay it off faster. But in reality, it kind of ends up where, at least for me, it might work for some people, but at least for me, it was definitely a bad idea for me to do it that way. Because, come the 3rd month and the money's coming out again, you're like, damn, I forgot about that. And, oh, geez, I'm still paying on that thing, So that was a bad idea on my part. And another bad thing was a couple times I have gone over my allotted budget. A couple times have been because BoxyCharm coming out at the end of the month, and I already had my budget spent. Reaching Rouge, actually. It was always, and now I'm thinking about it, what a silly goal to have in my head. Because Rouge is, you have to spend $1,000 in makeup, in skincare, whatever, over the course of a year. For me, it was a year and a half because I ended up hitting VIB a couple years ago, and just the way it worked out that I spent enough to reach Rouge. And I did make a video of What's the Soup Saturday about how Rouge is not what it used to be. It's not as lucrative. It's not as rewarding as it used to be. You're not getting the extra points. You're maybe getting an extra $10 off on a sale or something like that. But most of the things that you have on Rouge is available at VIB level. And VIB level is only $350 that you spend over a year, whereas Rouge is $1,000. You would think they'd have more incentive, but they changed the whole program over, and Rouge just is not what it used to be. And now, we're sitting here at the end of 2020, and I'm thinking about how much makeup I spent over the year, how much I spent at Sephora, with the points and the incentives. It's not that great. That was a bad goal to have, honestly, especially taking a budget into consideration. All right. So I'm going to wrap up this video because we're getting close to a half hour here, and thank you for watching. If anybody's come here for any advice, on what to do and how to do it, talk with your partner, your significant other, your husband, your wife. Communicate. If you need to hand over complete control to somebody else because you struggle, I recommend doing it. Just do it, because sometimes, and that is what it took for me. It took because it makes you more accountable for your decisions. You more accountable. I have so much makeup sitting in my bathroom still. I have lots of skincare. I have enough where, honestly, I could go a complete year without buying any more makeup. Well, maybe not. Mascara dries out, things get old, and then they just don't perform the way they used to. But, at least 6 months. I could go without a BoxyCharm or a FabFitFun or, new makeup at Sephora. Not so much skincare. Skincare I use a lot. Can you tell? So, and budget. Has to have a set budget. For me, having a limit works. And a lesson I've also learned about the hard way, and it's really tough for me to do, and I still have not done it, is to wait till the end of the month, towards the end of the month to spend more. What I've noticed is that sales, or wait for sales. If you can wait for a sale for a particular item that you want, wait for it. Most of the sales, like I was going to mention, happen towards the end of the month. I've noticed that pattern. It's not at the beginning of the month. It's towards the end of the month where things start breaking down. And maybe that's because of the whole people spending all they have for a budget at the first of the month. And that's something I'm really bad about. And my husband constantly reminds me how bad I am at spending all the money in my budget at the start of the month. That's still something that I need to work on. And yeah. So yeah, that's just it. Hand over control. He has everything on spreadsheets. He keeps track of all the spending. He does all that, and it's there for me whenever I'm curious or whenever I want to know. So 2020, I am ending the year on a much more positive financial note than I ended it on 2019, or in 2019. So I'm very, very proud of the progress I have made. And feel free to ask me any questions. I don't know if this video is going to be of any help to you. What worked for me might not work for you. And I hope you guys have a happy new year. Hopefully I have another What's a Soup Saturday available next Saturday. I haven't decided what I'm going to do. And keep being shining stars, even if I'm not around as often to remind you. Bye, guys.